some exciting new concepts that you may be able to utilize right away in your program right now or your programs that you are working on. So I definitely want to say hello again to everybody, all our Work Experience Coordinators Association people. I hope that you'll be considering attending the WECA conference on March 19th and 20th in Albany. And certainly my Buffalo State and Hofstra work-based learning students and all my other friends in the past who have taken courses or I've met along the way. So let's talk a little bit about marketing strategies, right? First thing I'd like to bring up is the challenges of marketing. Many times when I talk about marketing to other work-based learning people, I have some responses such as, I know marketing, I should be doing it, but I have no time to do it. It's just too much. Or, it's great, but the budget, the school doesn't have a budget for it, they won't buy me business cards, so I don't have the ability to do it. Or maybe technology skills. Some may say, I'm really not that good in technology, and do I really want to be on LinkedIn? I know I'm not on Facebook, I don't know if I want to be out there. And then some will say, it's too much work. I have enough work to keep up with, and I don't have time for this. And then some students may even say, well, why bother? I only have a few students that I'm going to place, maybe 8 or 10 or something like that. Do I really need to market my program? And then probably the last one is that marketing takes a sales personality. It is definitely different from being a teacher in the classroom. Even though in the classroom I understand you persuade, you inform, and so forth, but marketing, you're really out there and you really are selling a commodity, and the commodity would be our students. So it's a little bit of something that has to be within you to not be afraid to meet new people, talk, and sell at the same time. Many times I'm approached in my classes and out on the road, and I will hear from work-based learning coordinators asking me, isn't there a list of employers that I can look at? Can't I just pick names of companies off a list? Or if you are working in a big city and you have a centralized department for work experience, co-op or whatever, many of the schools and teachers believe that, well, I'm waiting for that department to send me the leads because I don't have time to go out and make the leads. Well, these are the challenges of marketing. I'm going to hope and work on that by the end of this presentation, that I've given you some answers to remove these challenges and that you'll feel much more comfortable in what you're doing and also feel that this is something you really need to do. So, why market? Well, there's a number of reasons. Number one is you need to market because you may need to either recruit students for your programs or recruit employers for your programs. While you're marketing, you want to inform your audience. You want to persuade your audience. You want to possibly seek additional resources for your program, so you want to be out there and market. You also want to market in maybe giving gratitude or thanks to employers for hiring your students. You certainly want to promote an awareness of what you're doing, because if you're working so hard on that program, you want to make sure that the other people around you in your school and your community know about it for accountability. They need to know that you exist. So the marketing strategy. Number one, we have to look at, okay, who is the audience? Who are we marketing to? Here's a group of students, employers, parents, faculty, and organizations. Each of those groups need to be informed about your work-based learning program. Now, you probably understand students, employers, and parents, but you may say, well, why faculty? So why did you add faculty? Well, it's important that the faculty in your school building are aware of what you're doing and the benefit of the work experience for the student. Because as we know that students do better in the class if they know how to connect, relate, what they're learning in the class to the real world. So when they have that real world experience, it's actually a benefit for the faculty that they can turn around and say, Mary, what did you learn yesterday at that workplace? How did you use this communication skill? Give us an example. So the faculty is part of the program because it's part of the learning experiment or learning activity. Organizations. Organizations such as your business organizations, your chambers, your professional organizations that have to do with certain businesses, they need to know you exist, that you have a program in your school. Each of those groups, when you do market to them, really you need to use a certain terminology, a certain approach to each of those groups. Many times when we are making brochures and flyers in the work-based learning courses, I will say to my students, okay, your audience will be students and parents. So you are going to speak to students and parents in a different tone, in a different use of vocabulary, and different graphics, as compared to maybe speaking to employers and faculty. So you may have a basic brochure, but you need to tweak it for each of those groups. You just don't want one brochure that you think is good for every single group. You want that piece of marketing material to truly speak to that group. Then, how will you market? There are different avenues of how to market. There are avenues of printing, internet, web, networking, face-to-face. I'm going to share that with you this afternoon. Third, when do you need to market? It's not just a once-a-year type of activity. It is daily, weekly, monthly, each semester, annually. Okay? Marketing is something you do all the time so that you are always adding more gas to your program to move forward. Where do you market? Well, you market in the various marketing channels. But before I show you the marketing channels, I think I do want just to talk about a second is, okay, who and what are you marketing? It's really very important that you understand who you are selling. So what I did was I wrote very quickly a little Dear Employer letter to give you an idea of how I describe the product, the person that I'm marketing. So here you can see, are you looking for the next employee who will bring grit, zest, commitment, and gratitude to your work site? Come help us mold the workforce talent of tomorrow via our cutting-edge work-based learning programs. You will find our students to be assets to your corporation as we stress work ethic, collaboration, and communication skills in our classes. I will reach out to you within the next 3 days to further discuss this partnership. So I hope you can feel the force of I have described the uniqueness of the student that I want to see if you will take this student and bring that student to the next level of training. I try to describe to the employer that this is an asset to your corporation, that this is going to be something that the employer will benefit from by participating in this partnership. Too often we try to market by asking the employer for a favor, and the favor being, please help this student, we need to get them some exploration, they haven't anything, we need to get them going, would you do us this favor and take on the student? I understand that we are asking that, but in reality, it is our job to get that student ready to be marketed to the employment community. We need to do things back in the classroom before we put them out to work. And sometimes I see teachers have this backwards. They think, well, all the on-the-job teaching or learning will be done by the employer. And that's really not true. That there's a certain amount of related instruction of certainly how to get a job, how to keep a job, but related instruction on basic how to work in a workplace. And those words that you see in the first sentence of grit, zest, commitment, they should sound familiar to you if you've been on the last 2 webinars that I did. I actually have that grading sheet, that assessment sheet, where the students would learn about those adjectives. They would self-assess themselves throughout the year in the classroom if they are bringing themselves up to those levels. The employer is not so worried about, is this an A student or a B student? They more would like a student that has a work ethic and is ready to work at the site. So enough on that, but I just wanted you to think about, as we now move through the marketing channels, that we are now marketing an asset to the corporation, something the employer wants. So here are our marketing channels. Printed media, I'm going to talk about business cards, brochures, flyers, signage, banners, table coverings, networking, face-to-face and online, co-sponsoring events with employers, and giveaways. And then also we will spend time on digital media on the internet. We're going to look at a great web page for your work-based learning program. We're going to do some time in LinkedIn, talk a little bit about the video YouTube channel, Twitter, and Instagram. Now you see this list and you may say, oh my God, how am I going to do all those things? That's impossible. Well, you actually have a lot of great help at your own school that could help you create a lot of these items. And the helpers that I'm referring to are your students. You may be in a CT school that has a graphic arts program or some art type of program. You may have web design in your school. You may have a marketing class in your school. All of these activities could become classroom projects in which you could go to the marketing teacher and say, I need a great brochure. Here's the content. Could we have your students, as an assignment, put together a brochure focused on the audience of the student? So again, they know what type of pictures to pick and so forth. Students are really good in helping you with all these things. There are students that are great in web design. There are students that would take videos for you and certainly help you with the other technology. Printed media, business cards. This is the first thing you need before you go out to market your program. Now, I know some schools will say, nope, we don't print business cards for teachers. Right? I would say make your case to your supervisor, explain that you need this to introduce yourself if you're going to be out there networking. Worst case scenario is I would go ahead and create my own and print them up on the printer so that at least I have something and I won't be embarrassed when I meet some new employers at a Chamber of Commerce. I would not tell the employers that your school would not buy you the business cards. Just pass over that, move forward and say, here's my card. In our work-based learning course, we do actually create our own business cards. And I have 2 on the page here to show you. It's very important that you use dark color fonts that are large enough to read. Many times you'll find that when you're in a networking situation, you could be in a room that has low light, and if you have a dark card with pink ink, it's not going to work. They're not going to be able to read it as you're talking to them. You want to make sure that your name is like in 14-point font. I have my former Smithtown High School card up there. If the school is doing it for you, you would definitely use the school logo. Very basic information. There's another card there that one of my past students had created. So you need business cards. You're going to need a good photo headshot of yourself. At some time along the way, you are going to need to bring your picture either to a newspaper article or to LinkedIn, as you will see, and you want a good photo headshot. What I share with my students is I say go to one of those stores that has a photography department like JCPenney's or Target or something. I've gone in with my grandkids, had my grandkids photographed, and then I would say, by the way, let me just pose for a picture and let me take one and see if this will work for me. You will also need a bio. If you're going to end up speaking to Chamber of Commerce's, you're going to want something that's about 3 to 5 sentences that they can read about, and here is so-and-so from your high school who is going to speak about X, Y, Z, and so forth. When you're involved in creating any printed media, you want to use the right logo from your school. You'll be writing news releases. Another good project for students to do, creating flyers, brochures, and newsletters. You don't need to do all of them. You can start off with 1 or 2 of them. Each year that you're in with your program, as you move along, you can always add something to it. When you are creating any of these items for print, you have to think about branding everything so it matches. So you're going to start off with using your school colors. If it's orange or red or whatever, use your school colors. Choose fonts that will be the same fonts throughout everything, from even your website to your business card to your brochure. You're going to need to get pictures of your school and maybe even students. Now certainly when we're talking about pictures of students, at any time in all this, you would need to get some type of parent permission to use pictures of students in brochures or on the website, so keep that in mind. If there are any symbols or logos that your school has, special colors, maybe you're the Mustang school or whatever and you want to put it up there, put it up there. You want to brand yourself so it looks the same. You at times will find that as you are out networking or you're doing different events, you're going to be marketing while the event is going on. Many times when you're doing that, you may want a large banner with ABC High School Work-Based Learning Program. You may want a tablecloth that will cover a table so that maybe employers are stopping by. For example, this would happen at a trade show. On Long Island, we have the Hauppauge Industrial Association. Every year they have a huge trade show of over 300 booths, and you can have a table, and if you have a nice cloth with your school name on it, that helps tremendously. You may want decals. You may want large posters. Many schools today have very large printers, or printers capable of printing very large sheets of paper. You're going to need the signage for your office location. Where are you in the building? And that was always a joke when students say they can't find where your office is in the building or where you're working out of. You need to put up signs. You're going to need these things for presentations, trade shows, back to school nights, advisory board meetings. Just a quick thing about back to school nights. I think I found more employers to hire students and for my advisory boards by setting up a table on back to school night at the high school and middle school. So when those parents are coming in the front door, I'm there with my brochures and everything. I am recruiting the parents to be part of the advisory board or to be part of hiring on the work-based learning. Parents are great contacts for you. Giveaways. I'm sure you've been to maybe a trade show or something where you walk away with pens, pads, key rings, smart drives, t-shirts, hats, even Frisbees. Now, I know you don't have the budget to buy those things at this time. However, you will be able to find employers that will be very willing to have their name on one side of the pen and the school work-based learning program on the other side. All right? So you can almost co-sponsor the items that you can both give away. It's good to have these things because the kids, when they get them, they feel more part of what's going on. And in many cases, they then become walking marketing advertisements for your program. There will be times when you can co-sponsor events and activities with employers. Maybe it's a food drive that you're doing, and that you want the employer to train your students. Well, why not help out the corporation that when they're doing their food drive, that the two of you could do it, collect food at the school, collect food at the corporation. And then maybe the employer will say, well, we need a big banner of ABC School and Citibank working together for the food drive. Networking itself, face-to-face networking. A work-based learning coordinator, if you've been doing this for a number of years, you know you need to network everywhere and at any time. Right? You never really stop selling your school's program and your school's students. To do this, you're going to need to join groups. You're going to need to be part of, number one, the Chamber of Commerce in your town. You need to be part maybe of the Rotary, the Lions, the Kiwanis, any of those other service community organizations. There are women networking groups you can be part of. There are business professional groups such as SHRM, that's the Society for Human Resource Management. Right? All those groups are important for you to be involved with. What's the key thing? You need the time during the day to go out to these meetings, and it's possible you may need to have the time to go in the evening to some of these meetings. Right? The nature of the job of a work-based learning coordinator is really not a 7:25 a.m. to a 2:55 p.m. job. All right? Because you need the time to meet the employers at their territory and where they are. That you need to work out with your school district and how you're going to do that. Where else can you network? Parties, at church, airports. You know, once you're into it, you're going to love to talk about what you do, your program, your students, and how employers can help you. In the work-based learning course, we do a whole module on how to network. We create the business card. We do the elevator speech of how to introduce yourself and how to network about never eat alone. Always look for someone new to meet. And if you walk into a room and know a number of certain people, go over, say hi, but move on to other people that you don't know so you can introduce yourself. Okay, moving on to digital media, internet, the website. I think this is the exciting part. I think we have a whole new field or a whole new way to market our programs that we didn't have before the year 2000. Even actually before 2005, we really did not pick up and get into the digital media era. But now we're into it full force, and this is something you really need to do. The first thing you should do in digital marketing is certainly create your own website for your work-based learning program. You need a presence on the web so that students can find you, employers can find you, parents can find you. What I have here is a sample of the Patchogue Medford High School work-based learning website. The coordinator is Lorraine Meyer, and she actually calls her program, I think it's Corporate Raiders, which is kind of a really great name. This is her website. I'm going to actually go to her website, and here it is, because I wanted to show you that, of course, she has a nice welcome, and she's using her school colors and everything. She has mentoring snapshots. I also know that Lorraine has students that update this and create pages. The website itself is a Google site, which is free. Anyone can create them. Again, in my work-based learning class, we do two websites, one for the work-based learning program and one as an e-portfolio to keep all your materials as we go through the class. So here are some very nice pictures of mentoring. Lorraine has a Career Connections Exploration Day that is coming up, so here's a way for her to advertise on March 31st. Not sure why her picture's not coming up, but we'll find out. She has a very nice college and career ready page talking about what is college career readiness and what programs are available for the students. She does a business honor roll. So here's the gratitude part of why we're marketing. Lorraine is thanking these companies that have come to her different types of programs. And what she did is she actually put the companies into the 16 career clusters so that if she's talking to students about, well, you want a job in hospitality and tourism, these are the people that you should be talking to. Boomers, family Melody Center, Long Island Ducks, and so forth. So she has a nice page there. Corporate Raters, here's her work-based learning program. She has a connection to SHRM. Remember before I said that Society of Human Resource Management, there's a special program for SHRM that's out there that schools can use. She has employers' testimonials. And I know she has one here where an employer talked about that her graduates are the best. Here we're talking about those assets again. These are kids that are hardworking, good kids to have. Right? She has an employment toolkit that she could use and send students to on you need a resume, job application, job interview, a thank you letter, and so forth. She has a page dedicated to who's hiring, and I know she uses this for the community also. She gets a lot of jobs in different areas, so she wants to broadcast many of the jobs just to anybody who wants to go out and find them, in addition to her corporate raters page. And I know even adults have come to this page. She has alumni success stories, so she has students coming back. Let me see if I can open this up. So students have the opportunity to write in a blog right on the web page. She has a career scavenger hunt that she does about the library. It was a particular program she has. Safety on the job seminar, something that she had also. So you can see that it's very robust, it's very friendly, students use it, parents use it, even employers could use it. All good means of marketing. Moving on to digital media and the internet. Talking about video YouTube channel. It is very easy for any person or any school, whatever you want to do, any program, to actually go onto YouTube, create an account, which is really your channel, and then you can download any video that you've taken. So what type of video would you want for marketing? Well, maybe you could have one student interview another student about his or her job, about his or her experiences, about his or her career plans. So you could have 60 seconds, 90 seconds snapshots of students talking. Or maybe you would have an employer explaining, this is my new building, this is what we do here, these are the types of people we want to hire. So all of these little YouTube snapshots are just basic videos and can be taken with your phone, your smartphone, or one of those flip cameras. Very easy to create, make it short so you can put up on your YouTube channel. Again, this is something your students can do. Another area, too, that students like are podcasts about maybe information about the world of work, podcasts about your program. There's also great podcast sites, and this is just basically listening to something. So maybe it's someone talking about your program, or in this case, I found a really interesting site about fearless careers, stories and skills for success. So it becomes something of an instructional activity. But you could use podcasts to market your program also. Today, in many of our communities, we have radio stations and we have TV stations. And many of them are looking for people to do 15 minutes to come over and talk about your program. So don't bypass your very simple TV station or radio in your area. And then my favorite topic right now is LinkedIn. I really have put a lot of effort into the work-based learning course this semester to get everybody up to date and very involved with unleashing the power of LinkedIn. LinkedIn can truly now put you on the planet, in the global world, where you could reach out to people, not just in your community, but around the nation, around the globe. And you don't always just have to use resources that are outside your front door of your school. There are ways to use resources that are around the globe that will be helpful to you and your students. So here is LinkedIn. It's a free account. You put up there basically information about who you are, and maybe even more so, rather than who you are, but why are you there and what you're looking for. Before I mentioned about that good headshot, well, that's the one was taken with my grandchildren. I slipped in and got that picture taken, so I have it for my LinkedIn page. It basically, what I'm doing here is establishing a presence in the business community. I have heard many times that LinkedIn is now the new resume for the adult as well as for the young student. I know colleges are now asking college students to create web pages, and I know that my high school teachers in the work-based learning courses have told me too that they have their senior students creating a LinkedIn page so that they can start to connect to industry as they move forward in their education. Fantastic way to network. Doesn't cost a cent. You can do this at home, and you can gain or seek industry knowledge about what's going on in the world of careers. So I show you my page. Oh, well, first this, I'm sorry. Here are some things that you can do with LinkedIn. Look for that you're looking for guest speakers. You'll post an announcement. Field trips, resources for the classroom, internships, shadowing, curriculum development, advisory board members, mentors and judges. Notice I didn't say anything about looking for a job for yourself, even though that could be part of it if you wanted it. But most, I think, teachers or outsiders who have not used LinkedIn think it's only for job hunting, and it's not. You break down what you need from LinkedIn. To do those, to find those people, who you're going to connect to, you're going to connect to former high school alumni of your school. They are extremely powerful people that love to come back to the school and talk about their career success. You're going to connect to local business community members. You're going to connect to business community members that are maybe far away but yet would still like to participate with your class virtually. You know, you can always beam someone into your class as a guest speaker through Skype or some other software technology. So someone that may be in San Francisco could be a guest speaker in your classroom. You want to look for professional associations that are promoting their career fields. You want to outreach to corporate pages. LinkedIn now has become the home of corporations that they know that they want to attract talent, so they have their own corporate pages. And now also LinkedIn has a group called the influencers, such as Bill Gates, Jack Welch, Guy Kawasaki, and it's in a section called Pulse or Influencers. You could actually follow them, and they have wonderful career advice that you want to know for yourself to pass on to the students, but I think the students will really enjoy listening to what these experts have to say. Here is a good example of a LinkedIn page. This happens to be John Litkowski. He is currently in my work-based learning class at this moment, and I got John's permission to use him as an example. All right, and I think John has a great picture. He looks very businesslike. It's very important that when you put your picture up on LinkedIn, it's in a business outfit, something that you would be wearing as you go out to meet people. It shouldn't be you and your children. It shouldn't be you at the beach. It shouldn't be, you know, you doing something casual. That's more for Facebook. LinkedIn is the business page. And so here's John's little introduction. I believe he just started his page when the class started, and he already has 117 connections. Our goal this week was to see if we could get up to 100 connections. On the next page that I'm showing you, it's really right below his picture, you have the opportunity to write a summary. And I thought John wrote a really great summary. Seeking business connections for my high school students for the virtual enterprise program in the following capacities: guest speakers, job shadowing, internships, mentoring, curriculum, just that list I gave you before. All right? And then he explains that he is both a special education, math, and business and marketing instructor, has attained diverse experience in working with educational technology, some more about him and what he's doing and so forth. But this is the first thing that someone from a corporation would see. Anything you put on this LinkedIn page becomes a buzzword, so that you want to make sure you get the vocabulary up there. If someone is searching for something, they will find you. All the folks on the right-hand side just happen to be all my students in work-based learning. They just happen to be connecting to John already, which is kind of nice. They're very excited about their experiences and how many connections they've made already. I tried one experience for John with finding an employer. You can search very easily on, he's at Forest Hills High School in Queens. If he wanted to find an alumni, I could have done Forest Hills alumni, and I put New York in to make sure we get Forest Hills High School, New York. We get that Forest Hills. Could be Forest Hills someplace else. But I also then just did Forest Hills, New York, to see what businesses would come up or what people that are working in Forest Hills. And I think this is a win-win for John. I believe he's on, so he can follow up on this. This fellow, Randy Brickman, is in financial services. But what's interesting is he attended Forest Hills High School, right? And he's a Queens type of person, so he's around. He's a person that probably would want to give back to his high school. And what John would do very easily is hit connect on the right-hand side. That would give him a chance to introduce himself and follow up with whatever he would like to do. So you can put in Forest Hills alumni, Forest Hills corporations. If you have a big corporation in your community, I'm just going to say like Bank America, you can put Bank America, Forest Hills. All the people in that Bank America, Forest Hills that are on LinkedIn will come up on the screen. And now you have an opportunity to say, well, do I want to invite the CEO or do I want to invite the sales manager? It's really a great resource to find people. So one other thing that LinkedIn allows you to do is to join groups. And by joining a group, then as everybody would be posting messages and sharing information, you will get those messages, as well as you can share with the other people. So you'll see John is a math teacher, so he has a lot of math groups, but we also have a WECA group. Apparently he must have gone to Dowling. We have a work-based learning alumni group that I run. I know ISTE is the instructional computer technology, very large group. So you have all these different things that you can join and it will work for you. So, just about finished. Email, we all know what email is. What I'm amazed at is that this is a time to market who you are. And so often in the email, there's never a signature or a logo of who the person is. So what you want to do is, there is a spot in the email for you to set up the signature. Put in your name, put in your job title, put in your school. Make sure you can read the telephone number. There's the email. And if you want to put something below that as far as what you're looking for, your project, or what you believe in, that's what you would do. But please don't send out an email without identification of who you are and who you're connected to. Because whether you're sending the email to another faculty member, there's your marketing. If you're sending the email out to an alumni, there's your marketing, or to a corporation. You want that all the time, as well as to parents. What you want to do to reach out to the students or employers is find out where are they. Are they on email? Are they on LinkedIn? Where are they? Interesting, Twitter, that started to be really for teens. Most teens have left Twitter, I understand. I'm sure there's still a few there. And there are more educators now using Twitter, and that they're actually tweeting out to parents. Apparently Twitter is very popular with parents, and they're tweeting out what's happening in the school building, what students are doing. So if you have career fairs, internship types of activities, or advisory board meetings that you want to announce, you should send a tweet out, right, to let the people know what's happening. You can send an email, you can tweet it, you can put it on LinkedIn. You can go all three platforms. The newest one that I understand students or young teens are using right now is Instagram, but this will probably change very quickly as soon as we adults move over to Instagram. you'll find something else. But I found some good examples of how it's being used. This happens to be, I think, a Business of Fashion Careers class, and they went on a field trip. And I just have the picture here of what it is, but when you go to Instagram, it's a picture of the students at the field trip, at the fashion agency, wherever they are. Really fascinating. So now the students can go back to their friends and say, look, this is what I did in this class. This is what is happening. So maybe you could do something like that with a work site. Maybe with the permission of the parent and the students, you could have pictures of the student working at a particular work site. You could also have students create or find quotes that they maybe would like to create a sign such as this, or maybe you would put one up every day of something about the world of work. And interesting enough, as I said, we know the teams are there, the corporations are now going there, and the corporations are putting pictures of their corporations to attract new students or new talent to come to their company. So there'll be many pictures of that particular company. I think we're just about finished. Yep. This is where we started. Who are you going to market to? Here's your audiences. How are you going to do it? You have many different opportunities. Don't forget to include students to help you with these different forms of marketing. When they buy into this, it even makes a better experience for them as well as your program. And certainly, when can you market? So I think, Gretchen, I've come to the end. Maybe we have some questions, I hope.
Well, we have one question and one comment. If there's anyone else listening that would like to ask a question before we end today, like I said earlier, you can type it into the questions pane on your control panel. The first question for you, Sue, is you mentioned getting a parental release when using photos of students. Is this necessary when students are not identified? And the second part of the question is, where do you suggest getting this release to ensure the wording is appropriate to protect the district?
Okay. I would say yes to, I would get it even if they're not identified. Or maybe I'll back up. One, I would go to my school district and I would go to the appropriate person within the school district, some administrator that I'm sure the school has a policy already. All right, and so if they have a policy on pictures being placed on websites or any other place, you want to know that policy. You want to know if the students need to, if you need it, if the students are not identified, because some schools may say, no, you don't have to worry about that. And they probably have the form already. If you are identifying the student, the form is already created for you. So the key is go to your administrator to make sure you're doing it correctly.
Okay, we had one comment earlier in the webinar when you were talking about not getting your district not being willing to pay for your business cards. We had a suggestion from one of the listeners saying,
oh, good.
Artistaprint.com will print 200 business cards for free.
Did you say Artiste or Vista?
It's Artistaprint.com, so A-R-T-I-S-T-A print.com.
Very good. And I know also another company I didn't mention was Vista, V-I-S-T-A.com. That's where I get all my business cards now at a very reasonable price. And I believe the first time you buy them, you do get 250 free or something like that. But you know what you may want to do at the same time, before you go out to get them printed from someone outside your town, check if you have a local print shop in your community. I would go down to a local print shop and talk to them about who you are, what you're doing, and maybe find out if they'd like to take a student to train there. Nothing better than getting students at really good places that could lead to better resources. And who knows, maybe they will print your cards for you. Any other questions?
We do. We have one more that came in. What should you include in a LinkedIn profile if you are doing a drastic career change into education and you're not yet affiliated with a school?
Well, you want to create a presence of who you are, what you know, where you want to go. So you certainly want to address the fact that this is where you are now, your skills, your competencies. That seems to be the hot buzzword these last 2 months or more. what are your competencies, your abilities to do what is really what it is, and where are you headed. So everything you're writing needs to be buzzwords that your future employer would be interested in. So I guess what I would suggest is I would look for some job descriptions or help wanted ads or whatever for that job that you want to go for, and look at the words that are in the job description and make sure that they are now on my LinkedIn profile. I did hear something interesting I should share, and this was from the Human Resources group, the SHRM group. They are now copying and pasting your LinkedIn profile or your printed resume and putting it into the program Wordle, Wordle.net. Many of you may recognize that. That's the program where you can put in words and it scrambles it up and everything else and makes these pretty signs. Well, what they're looking for is when you put in a large amount of copy, it will make the words that are repeated the most larger than the other words. So the number of times you say customer service skills or something like that, that's what's going to come out, that's going to tell the HR person your strongest area or what you think your strongest area is. So I never thought about one way to sort the data of your resume through that program that's a lot of fun to use in class, but yet to find out who you are.
Okay, great. We have some more questions come in. One is regarding how you note experience on LinkedIn. It's saying, are specific dates necessary for my LinkedIn? For instance, in education, do I need to include all relevant dates?
I'm not sure of that answer, to tell you the truth. You know, in a way, it almost depends upon how old you are. I was trying to think of my own LinkedIn account. I may just have the year of graduation and that's it. Don't go crazy about that section. What teachers don't realize is that it's not the education employers or other people are really looking for. They're looking for the competencies and the words of what you want to do. Almost like they're looking for the verbs and the adjectives. And oh yeah, you have some degrees, that's okay. Right? And educators tend to introduce themselves with saying, well, I have a bachelor's degree in this and a doctorate in this or whatever. That's great if you're speaking to other educators. But if you're speaking to employers, you want to talk about the product you're selling. And that's where it goes back to, I'm here to tell you about my students who have zest, grit, and commitment and gratitude. And they really don't care about the degree. So I sort of went off track there a little bit, but something to think about anyway.
Okay, your next question is, you mentioned marketing to faculty. In your experience, what is the best medium for marketing work-based learning opportunities to faculty?
I think the best medium is at a faculty meeting, a short 15-minute presentation. One of the concerns of faculty members is that if students are going to go out for work experience, it's a half a day of school for them. Maybe they won't take an extra elective from their department. So they look at this as, well, wait a minute, is it my class as important, if not more important, that they should be in the classroom learning and not out in the field? So you want, in that presentation, you need to show them that they're not going out for money or, well, it's not, can't say fun, but they're going out for an educational experience, and that it's designed, if you have a training plan, you want to share those training plans with your faculty members and say, this is what they are going to master, right? And they're going to be assessed when they're out there. They're going to do reflections of what they saw, so it's English and it's communication skills. They may make a presentation. They may make a PowerPoint for their experience. So do it in a faculty meeting. Really stress the educational advantages of work-based learning and have a really great flyer that they can take with them, and maybe even talk about their role, like if they want to recommend students, if they want to be involved in a project, with the students, like I was talking about the English part, the presentations, history of corporations. It's not just telling them, and this is good news, you're telling them it's instructional and you want them involved.
Okay, and your final question is, we have a FACS middle school student-run kindergarten literary event next month. We have always included pictures on our school website and write articles for our local newspapers. Is this something you would suggest posting to Twitter?
I would think so. I think, you know, don't post once. You could post a couple of times. You can post announcing it's going to happen. I don't know if you're looking for people to come and watch. My first thought when you started talking about it is, did you bring in any co-sponsors for the event? Are there people that would maybe donate some food? Maybe there's something that is a product or something that would be appropriate for that particular event. You know, think about it. Everywhere we go, I'm a big ice hockey fan, and if you look at the arena, when they're skating around the arena, every board has an advertiser. So we have to think in those terms too, is that when we have events, we should have corporations that are supporting us in this role. Even if it's the town council, we need to give them recognition. So I hope that helps a little bit. I need to know a little bit more about the event, maybe for some other ideas. So if that individual wants to email me, they could do that too. So, was that it?
That is it, Samia.
Well, I hope everybody did get something. I hope that I've alleviated some of your fears about marketing. And please remember, you don't do all of this at one time. You maybe pick out 3 to 5 of the activities and start with that, and then just keep building as your program grows. We have, Gretchen, I think we have another webinar that's scheduled for March 24th that we'll be sending out an announcement to folks. And it's going to be fun work-based learning activities you can do in your classroom. And again, I want everybody to remember, the WECA conference is coming up on March 19th and 20th, and I will email the flyer to them. We have a CDOS panel of people that are going to be there talking about how they've implemented CDOS now. So that's step 2 of how it's working and where they're going with it. So it should be great. It's in Albany. So thank you, everybody.
Great. Thank you, Sue. On behalf of the Technical Assistance Center, we'd like to thank you for joining us today. And just as a quick reminder, this webinar was recorded and will be archived at nyctecenter.org under Instructional Resources.